Have you ever wondered why the moment she starts ignoring you, everything inside you shifts? Hi, my name is Julia, and I am here to break down the complexity of women as a woman myself an expert in women's psychology. If you are new here, click on the subscribe button and don't forget to like so that other people can see this video. Your chest tightens, your mind races, you check your phone again, you reread the last message you sent, you start asking yourself questions you never asked before. Did I say too much? Did I not say enough? Is she losing interest? Is there another guy? And before you know it, you're reacting instead of thinking. Here's the truth. When a woman pulls back, ignores your text, delays her replies, or suddenly feels distant, most men make the same 5 mistakes. These mistakes feel natural, they feel justified, they even feel romantic, but they destroy attraction faster than almost anything else. You don't lose her because she ignored you. You lose her because of how you respond. In today's dating world, silence is common. Women have options. Notifications are constant. Attention is currency. If you panic every time she goes quiet, you position yourself as emotionally unstable. And women are extremely sensitive to emotional stability. They test it, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. When she ignores you, she's watching. She's watching your patience. She's watching your confidence. She's watching your self-control. And most importantly, she's watching whether your life collapses without her validation. This video is not about playing games. It's about control, emotional control, social awareness, strategic response, the kind of presence that makes a woman feel she's dealing with a grounded man, not a boy chasing reassurance. You don't beg for attention. You don't over-explain yourself. You don't spiral. Strong men move differently. They understand timing. They understand space. They understand that attraction grows in the presence of mystery and self-respect. If you've ever double-texted out of anxiety, if you've ever sent a "did I do something wrong" message, if you've ever tried to win her back by overperforming, this is for you. You're about to learn the 5 biggest mistakes men make when a woman ignores them and what to do instead. These shifts are subtle, but they change everything. Once you understand this dynamic, you'll never react the same way again. Stay with me, because the way you handle silence determines whether she leans in or walks away for good. 1. Panic texting. The first mistake you make when she ignores you is panic texting. You send one message, she doesn't reply. 10 minutes later, you send another. Then a meme. Then, "You good?" Then, "Guess you're busy, LOL." Stop. Every extra message you send after she hasn't responded lowers your value in her eyes. Not because texting twice is illegal, but because of the energy behind it. She can feel it, the urgency, the need, the fear. Women are highly tuned to emotional shifts. When you go from calm to chasing in minutes, it signals insecurity. And insecurity kills attraction faster than rejection ever could. You might think you're showing effort. She sees lack of control. Here's what's happening psychologically. When she ignores you, your brain interprets it as a threat. You feel uncertainty. Your instinct is to reduce that uncertainty by reaching out again. You want relief. You want confirmation. You want to feel chosen. But when you act from that place, you hand her all the power. Attraction requires tension. Silence creates tension. When you immediately rush in to fill that silence, you remove the mystery. You show her that you can't sit with discomfort. And if you can't handle small emotional gaps, she will question whether you can handle bigger challenges in life. A grounded man sends his message and goes back to his life. He doesn't stare at the phone. He doesn't analyze the typing bubble. He doesn't create imaginary stories in his head. He moves. Here's the rule: one message, then wait. If she's interested, she will respond. Women who want you do not forget you exist. They don't accidentally lose their phones for 3 days. Interest creates effort. And if she doesn't respond, that silence is information. You don't need to beg for clarity. The absence of effort speaks clearly enough. Another thing you need to understand: overtexting removes challenge. When you flood her with attention, she doesn't have to invest anything. And people value what they invest in. If she invests nothing, she feels nothing. The modern dating world rewards emotional discipline. Attention is everywhere. A man who can pull back, stay composed, and not chase is rare. Rare feels valuable. You want her wondering what you're doing. You want her thinking, why isn't he blowing up my phone like other guys? That curiosity pulls her back in. So when she ignores you, do this instead. Put your phone down. Go to the gym. Focus on work. Call a friend. Improve something in your life. Let your silence mirror hers. You don't punish, you don't react, you maintain position, because the moment you panic text, you're no longer the prize. 2. Over-explaining yourself. The second mistake you make when she ignores you is over-explaining. You start defending things she never accused you of. You send long paragraphs trying to clarify your tone, your joke, your intention. You write messages like, if I said anything wrong, I didn't mean it that way. Or, I hope you didn't misunderstand what I meant. Slow down. When you over-explain without being asked, you signal guilt. You signal nervousness. You signal that you believe you might have done something wrong even if you didn't. And that changes how she sees you. A confident man doesn't rush to defend himself from silence. He doesn't scramble to clean up a mess that doesn't exist. Silence is not an accusation. It's just silence. But when you react like you're on trial, you turn it into one. Here's what happens on her side. If she was simply busy, your long explanation feels dramatic. If she was slightly unsure about you, your over-explaining confirms her doubt. If she was testing your emotional stability, you just failed the test. Women are drawn to emotional strength. Not coldness, not arrogance. Strength. Emotional strength means you don't crumble the moment communication shifts. It means you trust your words, you trust your vibe, you trust your presence. When you start writing essays to fix what isn't broken, you lower your frame. You move into approval-seeking mode. You try to manage how she perceives you, and the moment you start managing perception instead of embodying confidence, attraction drops. Think about this. A man who is secure does not fear being misunderstood. If something truly needs clarification, he handles it calmly when the moment calls for it. He doesn't chase clarity just to calm his anxiety. You need to separate real issues from imagined threats. If she says, "That bothered me," then you address it directly, briefly, clearly, done. But if she says nothing and simply goes quiet, you do not start writing a confession letter. Let her sit with the last interaction. Let her process. Let her feel the space. Over-explaining also removes mystery. Attraction grows when she is still figuring you out. When you unpack every thought and emotion in advance, there is nothing left to discover. You become predictable. You become safe in a way that feels flat. And flat does not excite. Instead, hold your ground. If you said something playful, let it stand. If you invited her out, let the invitation breathe. If she doesn't respond, your silence shows self-assurance. It tells her you are not shaken. That steadiness is powerful. Remember this. People respect those who respect themselves. When you don't rush to defend your value rises. So the next time she goes quiet, resist the urge to explain. Resist the urge to fix. Resist the urge to soften your presence. Send less. Say less. Stand firm. 3. The third mistake you make when she ignores you is seeking reassurance. You send messages like, "Are we good? Did I do something? Are you still interested?" You want clarity. You want comfort. You want her to calm the storm in your head. But the moment you ask for reassurance from a woman who just pulled back, you flip the dynamic. You place her in the position of emotional authority. Now she is the judge. She decides whether you're secure. She decides whether you're approved. She decides whether you're safe. That shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Attraction thrives when a woman feels she is earning your attention too. When you start asking her to confirm that she still likes you, you remove that tension. You show her that you're more invested than she is. And imbalance kills desire. Here's what most men don't understand. When a woman ignores you, sometimes she's observing how you handle uncertainty. She wants to see if you are grounded or reactive. If you immediately seek reassurance, you reveal that you cannot tolerate ambiguity. You need constant feedback to feel stable. That creates pressure, and pressure makes her lean back further. Confidence is quiet. It does not beg to be validated. It does not need hourly confirmation. A secure man assumes interest until proven otherwise. He does not assume rejection at the first delay. He understands that adults have lives. He understands that attention fluctuates. And most importantly, he understands that if someone loses interest, chasing reassurance will not revive it. It will only speed up the exit. Think about your own experience. When someone repeatedly asks you, "Do you still like me?" it becomes draining. You start feeling responsible for their emotional state. No woman wants to manage your insecurities. She wants to feel safe with you, not responsible for stabilizing you. When you seek reassurance, you communicate fear of loss. And fear of loss makes you behave like you're already losing. Instead, hold your posture. If she's interested, her actions will show it. If she isn't, no amount of reassurance seeking will change her mind. Let her reach out. Let her initiate sometimes. Let her show effort. When you constantly ask for confirmation, you rob her of the opportunity to prove interest through action. Here's the stronger move. If she goes quiet, you give space. If she comes back warm, you respond warm. If she stays distant, you adjust your investment accordingly. You don't interrogate. You observe. You respond based on patterns, not emotion. This mindset keeps your dignity intact. It keeps your energy focused. And it positions you as a man who chooses, not a man who pleads. When you stop asking, you start attracting. 4. Overcompensating. The fourth mistake you make when she ignores you is overcompensating. You suddenly try harder. You become extra funny, extra available, extra generous. You offer favors she didn't ask for. You send longer messages. You increase compliments. You try to win her back with performance? Slow down. When a woman pulls back and you respond by increasing effort dramatically, she feels the shift. Your behavior no longer feels natural. It feels strategic. It feels like you're trying to regain lost ground. And once attraction feels forced, it weakens. Overcompensating comes from fear. You think, maybe I didn't do enough, so you double your effort. But attraction doesn't grow from pressure. It grows from balance. When you overextend yourself to hold her attention, you communicate that her attention is scarce and precious, while yours is unlimited and cheap. That imbalance lowers your perceived value. You start showing up like an applicant trying to secure approval instead of a man evaluating whether she fits into your life. Here's what's happening psychologically. When she goes quiet, you interpret it as a loss of status in the interaction. To regain status, you increase output, more effort, more energy, more emotional investment. But high value doesn't chase status. High value maintains it. A grounded man does not change his personality because someone slowed down. He doesn't suddenly become a stand-up comedian or a motivational speaker. He remains consistent. Consistency signals confidence. Overcompensation signals panic. Another issue is this. When you raise your effort after she pulls back, you reward her withdrawal. She learns that distance earns her more attention from you. That pattern is dangerous. If she ever wants reassurance, she simply reduces communication, and you respond by trying harder. You train her to pull away. Instead, you must mirror energy. If she decreases effort, you decrease slightly. If she increases effort, you meet it. That rhythm keeps attraction healthy. It shows emotional intelligence. It shows you are responsive, not reactive. Women respect men who maintain their standards under pressure. If you were playful before, stay playful. If you were busy before, stay busy. If you had boundaries before, keep them. Do not erase your structure just to secure temporary validation. The strongest position you can hold when she ignores you is stability. Calm tone. Balanced replies. No sudden spike in investment. You're not cold. You're not punishing. You're simply steady. And steady feels safe. Steady feels attractive. The moment you feel the urge to impress harder, pause. Ask yourself why. If the answer is fear, pull back. Let her wonder a little. Let her feel the shift. Attraction grows when she senses that your world continues smoothly, whether she texts back immediately or not. That's power. 5. Emotional reacting. The fifth mistake you make when she ignores you is emotional reacting. You get frustrated. You get irritated. You send passive-aggressive messages like, "Wow, okay," or "Guess I'll talk to you next week." Sometimes you go further. You accuse. You withdraw dramatically. You decide she's disrespecting you, and you respond with attitude. That reaction feels powerful in the moment. It feels like you're standing up for yourself, but most of the time, you're just exposing emotional volatility. When you react emotionally to silence, you show her that your mood depends on her behavior. That dependency is dangerous. Attraction requires emotional control, not suppression. Control. There's a difference. Emotional reacting sends one clear message. You cannot regulate yourself when you feel uncertain. And uncertainty is part of dating, especially in the modern world. People get busy, attention shifts, conversations pause. If every pause triggers your frustration, she will start associating you with pressure. No woman wants to feel like missing a text will cause conflict. Now let's be clear. Consistent disrespect is a problem. If she repeatedly ignores you for days while being active elsewhere, that's information. But you don't address it with heat. You address it with clarity. There's a calm way to handle patterns. Emotional reacting is different. It's impulsive. It's fueled by ego. You feel overlooked, so you lash out. Here's what happens when you react with frustration. First, she feels tension. Second, she feels your insecurity. Third, she pulls back further. Not because she hates you, because she doesn't want drama. Drama early on is exhausting, and modern dating gives her options. The man who handles silence smoothly stands out. The man who explodes over small gaps blends into the noise. Emotional strength is attractive because it signals leadership. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anything. That doesn't mean you tolerate poor treatment. It means you respond strategically instead of emotionally. There's power in pause. When you feel that surge of irritation, don't type immediately. Put the phone down. Let the emotions settle. Most reactive messages are regretted later. Very few calm responses are. If she ignored you once, you don't address it. You observe. If she makes it a pattern, you adjust your investment. Maybe you slow down. Maybe you stop initiating as much. Maybe you redirect your energy elsewhere. That is controlled action, not emotional reaction. When you remain composed, you communicate high self-worth. You show that your mood is stable. You show that your life is full enough that one delayed message doesn't shake you. And stability is magnetic. The moment you master your reactions, you stop giving away power for free. 6. Chasing closure. The sixth mistake you make when she ignores you is chasing closure. You want a final answer, a clean explanation, a clear rejection, something you can hold on to so your mind can stop spinning. So you send the message, "If you're not interested, just tell me," or "I deserve to know what's going on." You push for resolution. You push for a conclusion. You want the book closed properly. Here's the hard truth. In modern dating, closure is rarely handed to you. Silence is often the closure. When you chase it, you expose how uncomfortable you are with ambiguity. That discomfort makes you act out of urgency instead of strength. You think you're demanding respect, but most of the time, you're demanding emotional relief. There's a difference. When you push a woman for clarity after she has already reduced effort, you create pressure. And pressure rarely brings someone closer. It usually confirms that stepping back was the right move for her. Attraction fades quietly. Interest shifts quietly. And a strong man understands that not every ending needs a formal announcement. Chasing closure keeps you stuck in her frame. You wait for her response. You wait for her explanation. You wait for her to validate your experience. Meanwhile, your energy is frozen. Your focus is locked on someone who is already drifting. That is a losing position. Here's what real strength looks like. You notice the pattern. Her replies get shorter. Her initiation drops. Her enthusiasm fades. Instead of confronting immediately, you match the energy. You pull back. You give space. You redirect attention to your life. If she comes back with consistent effort, you continue. If she disappears, you let her go. No dramatic speech, no final demand, no emotional courtroom, just quiet adjustment. The man who can walk away without an explanation is powerful because he does not need validation to move forward. He reads behavior. Behavior is clearer than words. Many women avoid direct rejection because it feels uncomfortable. They hope distance will communicate the message. When you force them into a direct rejection, you place them in an awkward position. And awkward rarely feels attractive. Also understand this. When you chase closure, You are mentally placing her above you. You act as if she holds the authority to define your worth. She does not. If someone fades, it means alignment wasn't there. That's information, not an insult. Your job is not to extract a final sentence. Your job is to recognize misalignment early and preserve your energy. The moment you stop chasing closure, you regain control of your narrative. You decide when something ends. You decide when to disengage. And that level of emotional independence is rare. Rare feels strong. Rare feels attractive. Sometimes the strongest move is silence. 7. Losing your focus. The seventh mistake you make when she ignores you is losing your focus. This is the one that changes everything. When she goes quiet, your routine shifts. Your workouts drop, your work slows down, your mood changes, your thoughts revolve around her replies. You start checking your phone constantly. You imagine scenarios. You replay conversations. You mentally negotiate with someone who hasn't even responded. That is the moment you lose power. Not because she ignored you, but because you allowed it to distract you from your purpose. A strong man has direction. His goals do not pause for attention. His standards do not bend because of silence. When a woman notices that her withdrawal has no impact on your productivity, she feels something different. She sees stability. She sees independence. She sees a man whose life continues with or without her input. That is attractive. When you lose focus, you signal that she is the center of your world. And no healthy attraction grows when one person becomes the entire world of the other. Women are drawn to men who have momentum. Momentum creates respect. Respect builds attraction. If she ignores you, the correct response is not emotional escalation, it is progress. Go to the gym, improve your skills, expand your network, work on your finances, build something. Every time you choose growth instead of anxiety, you increase your value. Silence becomes fuel instead of frustration. This mindset shifts the power dynamic completely. Instead of asking, "Why isn't she replying?" you ask, "How can I move forward today?" That question keeps you grounded. It keeps you productive. It keeps you attractive. A man who reacts to silence by leveling up becomes unpredictable in a good way. He becomes harder to replace because his life is full, his time is structured, his attention is earned, and when she eventually checks back in, she feels the difference. You didn't chase. You didn't crumble. You didn't freeze. You moved forward. That kind of composure creates curiosity, and curiosity reopens doors. Losing focus also affects your emotional energy. When you invest too much attention into someone who isn't reciprocating, you drain yourself. That drain shows in your tone. It shows in your confidence. It shows in how you speak. Protect your energy. Keep your schedule. Maintain your standards. If she wants access to you, she should experience a man who is busy building his life, not waiting by the phone. The modern dating world rewards men who have options, purpose, and discipline. Focus is your advantage. When she goes quiet, you don't spiral. You don't chase. You don't beg. You build, and that is how you stay in control. When she ignores you, your response determines everything. Do not panic text. Do not overexplain. Do not seek reassurance. Do not overcompensate. Do not react emotionally. Do not chase closure. And do not lose your focus. Stay calm. Stay consistent. Keep your standards. Move with confidence. Real attraction respects strength, not pressure. When you handle silence with maturity, you position yourself as a man with direction and control. That energy is powerful in the modern dating world. Remember this: how you respond is the real message she reads. Choose wisely and lead yourself first.